Welcome back. All right. Well, now that we have a better understanding of what Kaizen is, let's turn our focus towards a Kaizen event. Well, specifically, by the end of this module, you'll know what a Kaizen event is, as well as what to expect during a typical Kaizen event. In future modules, we'll dive even deeper as we explain how to plan and execute an actual Kaizen event. Okay, well, to start things off, let's explore what a Kaizen event is. Well, define a Kaizen event is a focused and accelerated application of Kaizen techniques in a specific area. Sometimes called a rapid improvement event or a Kaizen blitz, a Kaizen event typically lasts around 4 to 5 days in duration. And as the name blitz implies, the emphasis of a Kaizen event is on speed and decisive action, much like we witness when an American football team blitzes and sacks the quarterback. Now, for those unfamiliar with American football, a blitz occurs when several members of the team rapidly focus on stopping their opponent by rushing at them quickly and efficiently, much like a Kaizen blitz team focuses on rapidly solving problems or implementing solutions. Now, Kaizen events are also meant to teach our associates how to think critically and solve problems. In fact, this may in fact be the most powerful result of a well-executed Kaizen event. Kaizen events can be used to rapidly improve just about any process that can be observed, measured, and changed. Now, the narrow focus and cross-functional team-based approach of Kaizen enables teams to make changes rapidly and optimally at minimum cost to the company. Now, here we see an example of a TPM, or Total Productive Maintenance Kaizen, where a machine was deep cleaned and made ready for optimal performance. Now, throughout the rest of this module, we're going to show some pictures and examples from real-life Kaizen events, specifically from a TPM and a 5S Kaizen event. But it's important to remember that the Kaizen event can be used to improve any process, no matter if we're working in a factory, an office environment, or a hospital. It's also important to realize that Kaizen events by themselves are not silver bullets. In other words, you shouldn't expect to conduct a Kaizen event or even a series of Kaizen events and immediately revolutionize your organization overnight, since this type of transformation requires an overall strategy for long-term process improvement, as well as a dedicated staff to prepare, facilitate, and follow up on various types of Kaizen initiatives. Finally, organizations must have an ongoing system of education and training for workers and managers focused on lean thinking principles. Now then, while we're focusing on the traditional Kaizen event in this module, I do want to point out that there are other types of Kaizen initiatives used by lean thinking organizations around the world. Now, as we see here, we can make improvements through what we call project-based initiatives, which might involve new technology, new materials, etc. Now, these are good improvements that often provide a steady stream of progress over time. The next type of improvement comes from Kaizen suggestion systems. We'll cover this type of Kaizen in a future module, but these improvements often occur on a daily basis, and while the improvements are normally small in nature, over time they definitely add up. Finally, the Kaizen blitz or Kaizen event leads to step change improvements, as we see here. Now, Kaizen events are best utilized in conjunction with value stream mapping activities, as we learned in the Gemba Academy, Transforming Your Value Streams course. So, as we see, Kaizen has many faces, and when we practice each of them in harmony with one another, the results will be extremely powerful. To be sure, these various types of Kaizen initiatives, including the Kaizen event, are integral to long-term success at world-class companies, especially when we involve the experts, meaning the people who do the work on a day-to-day basis. Now then, for the rest of this module, I'd like to introduce you to the Gemba Academy's preferred 5-day Kaizen event process. Now, an important point that I'd like to stress is that there is pre-work that needs to be done before the actual Kaizen event takes place. Now, we'll explain what this pre-work is later, but assuming the pre-work is done, let's have a look at how a typical Kaizen event unfolds. We call the first day of the event the day of learning. Now, during the first day, associates receive training, walk through the target area, map out the process, review data, and do other things like calculate takt time when applicable, perform a 5S scan of the area, and take before improvement pictures. Now, the activities done on day one will vary depending on the type of Kaizen event you're running. For example, you may not need to calculate tack time if your focus is improving to 5S level in the marketing department. Now, as a Gemba Academy customer, you're actually in a unique position as it relates to the training of your associates. You see, traditionally, a lean expert is brought in to deliver the training the team needs. Now, this usually lasts for a few hours at the most. But we're now hearing of how Gemba Academy customers are using our online and DVD-based training to train all of their associates at the beginning of the Kaizen event. For example, organizations planning a 5S Kaizen event are using our 5S Workplace Productivity course to handle the training aspect of the event. Now, the theme of Day 2 is Go to Gemba, or the place the work is done. During Day 2, we'll be observing the process using the best Kaizen tool we have, our eyes, as we witness what's actually happening with the process in question. Now, we'll also use tools that we've already learned about in previous Gemba Academy courses, such as spaghetti diagrams, time observation forms, and video footage. And while we at Gemba Academy obviously love our video cameras, I can't stress enough how powerful they are, as they can help us capture what is really happening while allowing the team to then watch the video footage back slowly and carefully. This, in turn, allows the team to come up with many ideas for improvement. Now, when we watch video footage back with Kaizen teams, we almost always hear things like, "Wow, I had no idea that's what we really did." Now, during Day 2, we'll also brainstorm what we want the future state to look like as we document the improvement plan on a Kaizen newspaper. Now, this plan will identify who will do what and by when. Next, once the plan's in place, it's time to take action, which is precisely what happens on Day 3 of the Kaizen event, where our theme is to just do it. Well, during this third day, we'll make changes to the process, which oftentimes involves a lot of sweat and hard work. Now, we'll also simulate new methods when possible as we walk through a mock-up or the actual process using the new methods, while also creating new documentation such as revised work balance chart when applicable. And finally, we'll begin to make physical changes to the work area, which may involve various 5S activities, moving equipment and constructing new fixtures and equipment when applicable. Now, here we see a Kaizen team preparing to install some new racking. Well, they first cleared an area by removing items no longer needed. They then built the racks outside using existing materials. In other words, they didn't have to spend any money, as they simply reused racking they already owned. An excellent example of the continuous improvement commandment to use creativity over capital. Now, the Kaizen team then moved the racking into position and got busy painting as they finished things up. All right, well, Day 4's theme is to test and refine as we spend the day working in the new process to ensure things are indeed better. You see, there's a very good chance that we'll need to make several tweaks or small adjustments to the process as we learn more and continue to involve the experts. Now, here we see a Kaizen team fine-tuning the look and functionality of a shadow board. And here's another example of a gauge that was dirty and very hard to read. Well, after a little cleaning and polishing, the gauge was much easier to read. Additionally, the team made another small tweak as they enhanced the visual workplace by adding tape, making it easy for anyone to see if the equipment was working as it should. And finally, by the end of Day 4, we'll ensure the process is 100% functional and ready to be handed off to the process owner. Finally, Day 5 is all about sustaining and celebration. We'll work to measure and document the new current state while also identifying the financial benefits of the event. Now, here's an actual graph of OEE, our TPM Kaizen team, put into place in order to measure the success of their event. Next, we'll communicate the results of the event with all associates while creating a plan for fully implementing ideas that we weren't able to complete during the actual event. Now, in this picture, we see our Kaizen team discussing an event with senior leaders from their company. Now, we'll also use tools like the skill matrix and cross-training plans, while also creating a sustainment plan that may include things like audits and return visits in 60 days to ensure the gains have been maintained. Finally, to wrap up the event, the team will present their results to the management and coworkers while enjoying some snacks and food to celebrate their accomplishment. Okay, well, to wrap this module up, I'd like to leave you with some important things to keep in mind as you begin your Kaizen journey. First, it's important to plan out how you're going to redeploy people you free up through Kaizen. You must never let there be a concern or anxiety that these people will lose their job due to productivity improvements in Kaizen. And even if you think it isn't an issue, it helps to communicate it up front. This will be especially true as people see the savings and start doing calculations in their head. Next, it's important to understand the investment required in terms of supplies, people's times, and production time that may be lost. You should create a plan to recover these costs by saving on things like overtime, hiring avoidance, and redeploying people freed up to other areas that may need the help. Alright, well, this wraps up this module on the Kaizen event. In future modules, we're going to share some actual Kaizen event success stories while also learning about the challenges these organizations faced. But in our next module, we're going to take a step back as we discuss how to plan for the Kaizen event, as well as the difference between what we call system Kaizen and point Kaizen. So, we'll speak to you soon.